Hello everyone, I am Subrasmita Sahu and today we discuss some recommendation of Kothari Commission 1964 to 1966 under the supervision of Dr. Manju, Assistant Professor of School of Education of Central University of Haryana. Let's see some introduction about the Kothari Commission. Kothari Commission is popularly known as the Indian Education Commission, which is set up by the Government of India on July 14, 1964, under the chairmanship of Dr. D.S. Kothari. And the object of the Kothari Commission was to examine different aspects of the education system in India. This commission submitted the report on Indian education system on 29 June 1966. The recommendation of the Kothari Commission is reform the education become the part of the national policy on education in 1968. This commission review the entire education system. Let's see some major recommendation. First recommendation is the school education system, that is the 10 plus 2 plus 3 system. This committee has strongly recommended to uniform educational structure throughout the country. The new education system should consist of 1 to 3 years for the preschool education, lower primary stage of 4 to 5 years, higher primary stage of 3 to 2 years, and the lower secondary stage is 3 to 2 years, and the higher secondary stage of 2 years of vocational education. The age of the admission in class 1 should not be less than the 6th year. And this commission has highlighted to need to increase the investment in education, that is the 6% of national income expenditure on education. And also it says that the coordination between the state and the central government was also necessary for the development of the education. Second recommendation is the language policy. The unique features of recommendation of Kothari Commission is 3 language formula. The first one is the mother tongue or the regional language, second is the official language, and the third one is the modern Indian or the foreign language. Let's see an example. The 3 language formula in the school of Karnataka state. The first one is the mother tongue, that is Kannada, and the second is the official language, that is English, and the third one is the modern language or the foreign language, that is Hindi. The third recommendation is the science education. When the science education is developed more and more, then our nation also develop in the scientific field. So that this commission recommended to promote and accelerate the science education in research in India. Science and research education is promoted and increase the growth in the national income and society. And also it recommended for provision of specimen, morals and charts about the scientific education in primary school. But in the higher primary school, it provision for the laboratory cum lecture room. Next is the recommendation 4, that is the work experience and the national service. The school and the community should be brought closer through the suitable programs of mutual service and support. The work experience and the national service including participation in some meaningful and challenging programs of community service. And the national reconstruction should be accordingly because it is an integral part of the education. This commission recommended to emphasize this program should be on self-help, character formation, and the developing a sense of social commitment. And this commission also recommended the secondary education should be vocationalized. Next is the recommendation 5, that is the provision of free and compulsory education. It is the main attraction of Kothari Commission. The yearly fulfillment of distinctive principle of state policy under the Article 45 of our Constitution, which is seeking to provide the free and compulsory education for the all children up to the age of 14 years. It is the aim is to increase the enrollment in school. Some suitable programs should be developed to reduce the privileging wastage and stagnation in schools and to ensure that every child who is enrolled in the school successfully complete the prescribed courses. Next, the recommendation 6. It is the education for women, handicapped, backward classes, tribal and scheduled classes. It recommended for the provision of educational facility in rural and backward areas. It also put emphasis on the education of girls and women to promote the social transformation. Because if we educate a man, then we educate an individual person. But if we educate a girl or a woman, then we educate the whole society or the whole family. It is also provision for the education of physically handicapped children. Next is the recommendation 7, that is the secondary education. The Kothari Commission recommended to increase the facility for the technical and vocational education at the secondary stage. It promotes the employment opportunity through the vocational education, so that it is important to make the technical education effectively at the secondary stage. Some vocational education like agriculture, trades and commerce, art and craft, industry, health, home management. Next is the recommendation 8, that is the university education. This commission recommended to giving special attention to postgraduate courses and training. It also recognized the need for the provision of libraries, sufficient strength of teachers and other staffs, which is decide the number of students will be admitted to the colleges and the universities. It also recommended for the approach of cluster of centers to promote the research and training. Next is the recommendation 9, that is the production of book. This commission analyzed that how important of quality of book in educational development, so that this commission suggests to provide free textbook and the study material to the primary stage of student. It also recommended to avoid the frequently changes in textbook and keeping the price of books affordable for the students. Next recommendation is the 10, that is the mass education. The word mass means something big. The collaboration of agriculture and industry is the part of the mass education. So that this commission emphasized to development of education in the field of agriculture and industry. This commission highly recommended that there should be at least one agricultural university in every state. The technical education and the practical training in industry should be an integral part of the mass education. Next is the recommendation 11, that is the examination. The major goal of the Kothari Commission is reform the education. It should be improve the reliability and validity of examination and to make the evaluation in a continuous process. The aim is to helping the student improving his level of achievement rather than to certify the quality of the performance which is given at that moment. Next is the recommendation 12, that is the games and sports. Games and sports are the physical activity that provide the sense of enjoyment and helps our improve both the physical and mental coordination. So that the commission recommended to implement a games and sports period in the school education. This teaches also a discipline, the value of time, unity and the togetherness. The individual games also teach us the concentration and total attention. Next is the recommendation 13, that is the spread of literacy and the adult education. Spread of literacy or the education is very important because the education it gives us knowledge of world around us and changes it into something better. It develops in us as a perspective looking of our life so that the support of teachers and students should be actively involved in the organizing the literacy campaign, especially at the part of the social and the national service program. The commission highly recommended on the adult education. The key role of the adult education is to allow workers to develop their skills and acquire new ones. Next, we see some other recommendation are the minority education that is mentioned in the Article 30 in our Constitution. Next is the recommendation for 60-year age, the retirement of teachers. Then the implication of moral and spiritual education. Next is the purpose to give liberal assistance to improve the salary of school teachers. Then the part-time education and the correspondence courses. There is the example of IGNU where the correspondence courses are available. Next, the identification of talent where we discover others' hidden talent. Thank you.